Imagine being at the petrol station. You fill your tank and are ready to pay, but it's almost double what you paid last month. You didn't change anything, but the world did. On June 13th, 2025, the world took a dangerous turn. Israel launched a series of strikes deep inside Iran. Just hours later, Tehran responded with a barrage of missile fire on Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. It was not just retaliation, it was a geopolitical alarm bell. The Middle East is once again teetering on the edge of war. But this time, it's not just their fight, it's bigger and impacts everyone. Because what's unfolding thousands of kilometers away could soon knock at every front door in India, Pakistan, and the subcontinent, and could rewrite their economic futures. In this video, we'll break down why this could be the defining conflict of the decade, and how it will shape your daily life. To understand why this conflict is different, you have to understand Iran, not just as a country, but as a pressure valve for the global economy. Let's begin at the Strait of Hormuz. Picture it, a narrow 21-mile corridor of water that's arguably the most important stretch of sea on Earth. Through this bottleneck flows 21 million barrels of oil each day, 1/5 of the world's supply. Think of it like the neck of an hourglass. Block it even slightly, and everything above starts piling up. That's what makes Iran's geography a global risk multiplier. And this isn't just theory. History backs it up. In 1984, Iran began attacking tankers in the Gulf during the Iran-Iraq War. Insurance rates tripled, oil prices jumped. In 2019, just one drone attack on Saudi oil fields temporarily cut 5% of global oil supply, spiking prices by 20% in a single day. Now factor in Iran's own role as the third largest oil producer in OPEC. It exports over 3 million barrels per day, oil that powers factories, fuels transport, and keeps inflation in check across Asia. But oil isn't the only card Tehran holds. Over the decades, Iran has built a proxy web stretching from Lebanon to Yemen. It can stir conflict without even firing from its own soil. From Houthis in Yemen to Hezbollah could hit targets in Israel that could further complicate matters. The result? A regional firestorm that touches every artery of global trade. Iran, in short, isn't just a player, it's the fuse. Light it, and the shockwaves ripple across every energy-dependent economy. And that takes us to South Asia. India is a giant engine. Its growth, mobility, and consumption all run hugely on oil. And 85% of that oil is imported. More than 60% comes from a region now facing the specter of war. What happens because of the war? Let's run some number. Every $10 increase in crude oil raises India's inflation by about 0.5 percentage points, increasing the price of goods. The fiscal deficit widens by 0.4% of GDP if the government tries to absorb the shock. It also adds $12.5 billion to the trade deficit. If oil prices rise from $75 to $105, a plausible scenario, India could lose up to 1% in GDP growth. That's the equivalent of losing the economic output of a state like Goa overnight. India's oil import bill could surge too. A heavier import bill means more pressure on the rupee. As the currency weakens, imported goods become costlier. Food, fuel, electronics, all climb in price. This isn't a distant, abstract issue. This is what shows up in your budget app. The groceries cost more, the Uber ride feels steeper, your monthly EMI creeps up, it's economic drag you can feel. Pakistan has a similar story. Like India, it imports around 85% of its oil, but with far less fiscal cushion. In 2022, a smaller price spike pushed the rupee down 11%. A similar hit today, amidst IMF conditionalities and political uncertainty, could cause severe turbulence. The current account deficit balloons. The same vulnerabilities apply to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. These economies are deeply import-dependent and extremely sensitive to oil price volatility. For Sri Lanka, still climbing out of default, another oil shock could be destabilizing. Oil is not just an energy story, it's a fiscal one. In fiscal year 2022, oil accounted for about 26% of India's total imports. When prices averaged $88 in 2018 to 19, the oil bill stood at $141 billion. If prices cross $120, India could be staring at a bill north of $180 billion. The knock-on effects are pretty severe. A weakening rupee raises import costs across the board. Inflation builds up. The government may slash fuel taxes or ramp up subsidies to shield citizens, but it comes at a steep price. Every 1 rupee cut in excise duty costs the government roughly 0.08% of GDP. According to the Reserve Bank of India, a $10 oil shock raises the fiscal deficit by 0.43% of GDP if fully absorbed. That squeezes space for welfare spending and infrastructure, everything that you need as a citizen. But there's a long-term pivot in motion. Crises, after all, are catalysts. India has strategic petroleum reserves that cover about 10 days. Not bad, but not enough. This conflict could honestly supercharge the clean energy transition. Expect faster adoption of electric vehicles, more aggressive solar and wind deployment, and a renewed focus on green hydrogen. India's ethanol blending target of 20% by 2025 could see a policy push. Meanwhile, crude sourcing may pivot more toward Russia, Africa, and Latin America. Similarly, Pakistan and other countries in the subcontinent could potentially follow the path of energy diversification in the long run. But all of this takes time. And in the short term, India and its neighbors remain tied to a volatile region that now teeters on the edge of full-blown war. This is not a distant war, it is a regional shockwave. From the petrol in your car to the cost of your groceries, from your EMIs to national economic stability, this conflict could shape life in the subcontinent for years. If you like this video, share, subscribe for accurate and timely insights.